Today, we are exploring Cities for People by Gehl, published in 2010. This book distills over 40 years of research and practice in human-centered urban design. Gehl is not just a theorist, he's a practitioner. Through his firm, Gehl Architects, he has advised cities across the world, from Copenhagen to New York City, from Melbourne to Shanghai. His central question is very simple. What happens when we design cities around people instead of cars? This book is both critic and guidebook. It critiques 20th century car-dominated planning and offers a practical framework for designing public space at the human scale. And first of all, who is Gehl? Gehl was born in 1936 in Copenhagen, Denmark, and became one of the most influential urban thinkers of the late 20th century and 21st. He was educated at the Royal Danish Academy, where he received his architecture degree in 1960 and later became a professor of urban planning. Unlike many architects of his generation who were fascinated by buildings, monuments, and a large-scale urban form, Gehl became interested in something much more fundamental: how people actually live in cities. His intellectual shift began early in his career when he married a psychologist. Through discussions with her, he began to question why architects rarely studied human behavior, perception, and social interaction in urban space. This led him to explore the intersection between psychology, sociology, and architecture, focusing on everyday life that happens between the buildings. This research eventually led to his first major book, Life Between Buildings, which introduced the radical idea: the most important part of architecture is not the building itself, but the life that happens between buildings. Over the next 4 decades, Gehl applied this philosophy in real cities, working with Copenhagen, Melbourne, London, and New York to transform car-dominated urban environments into pedestrian-friendly public spaces. In 2000, he co-founded Gehl Architects, an urban design consultancy focused on improving public life and human-scale urban environments. So his later book, Cities for People, became a comprehensive summary of his life's work, presenting a clear framework for designing cities around human needs rather than cars, infrastructure, or abstract architectural concepts. Gehl's work can be understood as a continuation of thinkers like Jane Jacobs, but with a stronger emphasis on empirical observation, measurable public life, and practical urban design tools. So for thousands of years, cities were built for walking. Streets were narrow, buildings were low-rise, public life unfolded face to face. Then came the 20th century, the automobile, zoning separation, high-rise towers, large roadways, speed and efficiency. Cities began prioritizing movement over experience. So Gehl introduces a key distinction: reshaped cities as 3 scales. 1. The large scale, area plans, infrastructure. 2. The medium scale, blocks and districts. And 3. The small scale, human interaction at eye level. So modern planning often focuses on the large scale. Gehl focuses on the small scale, what he calls life between buildings. How does a facade feel at the walking speed? Can people sit comfortably? Are there edges to lean on? Are there places to pause? He reminds us Humans walk at 5 km per hour. We perceive detail at close range. We experience cities horizontally, not from the sky. Design must reflect that. At the core of Cities for People is a simple but powerful argument. Cities must be designed based on human biological and psychological needs. Gehl argues that modern cities have been shaped by traffic engineering, zoning, and large-scale architectural ideology, which often ignore the basic requirements of human experience at the street level. To correct this, he proposes a framework of 5 fundamental human needs in public space. These needs are not abstract theories, but are grounded in decades of observation of how people walk, sit, interact, and behave in real urban environments. The 5 human needs in public spaces are the need for protection, comfort, enjoyment, social interaction, and identity and meaning. So let's go through one by one. 1. The need for protection. The first human need is protection. People need to feel safe and secure in public space. This includes protection from traffic, protection from crime, protection from unpleasant sensory conditions, protection from wind, rain, and extreme weather. Gehl argues that if a space feels unsafe, people will simply avoid it. Public life cannot exist without a sense of safety. This idea connects directly to the concept of human survival instinct. Before people can enjoy the space, they must first feel protected. For example, wide roads discourage the pedestrians, dark or empty spaces create a fear, high-speed traffic reduces the social interaction. In Gehl's framework, safety is the foundation of the public life. Without a protection, no other human need can be fulfilled. 2. The need for comfort. The second need is comfort. Comfort refers to physical ability to move and stay in a public space. This includes walkability, places to stand, places to sit, to see and observe, and places to talk and listen. Gehl emphasizes that cities must be designed at walking speed, not driving speed. Humans experience cities at approximately 5 km per hour, and therefore details matter, distances matter, scale matters, materials matter. A comfortable city is one where people can walk slowly, stop easily, sit comfortably, and observe others naturally. This is why small streets, narrow blocks, and active ground floors create better urban life than large-scale modernist developments. Comfort transforms public space from a corridor of the movement into a place of staying. 3. The need for enjoyment. The third need is enjoyment. Once protection and comfort are secured, people begin to look for pleasure in public space. This includes visual richness, human-scale buildings, sunlight and greenery, attractive facades, interesting street life, and sensory experience. Gehl explains that humans naturally seek environments that stimulate the senses. This is connected to evolutionary psychology. Humans prefer variation over monotony, sunlight over darkness, human activity over emptiness, detail over abstraction. A city that provides enjoyment encourages the people to stay longer, which increases social interaction and economic activity. In this sense, enjoyment is not decorative, it is functional. A beautiful and lively environment produces more life. 4. The need for social interaction. The fourth human need is social interaction. Gehl argues the cities exist primarily to bring people together. Public space is a physical platform for social life. He identifies 3 types of activities: necessary activities like walking, commuting, and shopping; optional activities, sitting, relaxing, and observing; and social activities like talking, meeting, and interacting. Necessary activities happen regardless of design quality. Optional and social activities only occur when public spaces is well designed. This means better public space leads more optional activities and more social interaction, and bring more urban life. This is one of the Gehl's most important insights. Public life is not random. It is directly influenced by spatial design. 5. The need for identity and meaning. The 5th human need is identity and meaning. People want to feel emotionally connected to their environment. They want to feel belonging, recognition, cultural identity, and sense of place. Gehl argues that public space should reflect human life, culture, and memory. This is achieved through local materials, human-scale architecture, historical community use, and public events and activities. A successful public space becomes part of people's daily identity. It becomes a place where people feel, this is my city and my street. Without identity, cities become anonymous and alienating. With identity, cities become meaningful and alive. So Gehl is direct in his critique of car-centric planning. Cars move fast, humans move slowly. Cars require wide roads, large parking areas, and long distances between destinations. And humans prefer short distances, visual connection, mixed uses, and frequent stopping points. Modernist planning separated housing, work, and leisure into different zones. This increased travel distance and reduced street life. And Gehl argues for density, but specifically walkable density. He is not advocating skyscraper forests without a street life. He is advocating active edges and layered urban experience. He often emphasizes the 100-meter rule, the idea that visual stimulation should occur frequently along a walking route. Blank walks kill pedestrian energy. Active ground floors sustain it. One of Gehl's most practical contribution is methodological. He doesn't rely on abstract theory. He measures, he counts pedestrians, he maps stationary activities, he documents how long people stay in a public space. Before redesigning Times Square, Gehl's team studied how people actually use the space. The result was portions of the Broadway were closed to cars and turned into pedestrian paths. The transformation of Times Square, once dominated by traffic, into pedestrian space is a real-world example of his philosophy in action. Urban design must begin with observation, not ideology. So Gehl connects human-centered design to larger global issues like public health, climate change, and social equity. Walkable cities reduce emissions. Active public life improves mental health. Safe public spaces foster democratic interaction. He argues that cities must be lively, safe, sustainable, and healthy. In that order, because without a life, safety declines. Without safety, sustainability fails. This sequence is crucial. Urban sustainability is not only about technology, it's about human behavior, and behavior is shaped by design. Let's summarize the core lessons of cities for people. Design at eye level. Urban life happens at 5 km/h, and public life depends on optional activities. Comfort and quality invite people to stay, and cars distort the scale. Human-centered streets create a social interaction, and measure behavior. Observe how people use space before redesigning it. And small changes matter. Benches, edges, transparency. These shape experience profoundly. So cities for people is not radical in tone, but it is radical in implication. It suggests that many urban problems are not inevitable. They are design choices. Cities can be reshaped incrementally toward human experience. For architects and planners, this book is a reminder. Master plans matter, but details matter more. You can build iconic architecture and still fail the pedestrian. Or you can design a simple bench, a generous sidewalk, a transparent ground floor, and transform daily life. Gehl's legacy is not about the style, it's about empathy. Designing cities not for spectacle, not for the speed, not for cars, but for the people. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helps you better understand the foundation of architectural thinking and encourages you to explore the original text and the buildings and more deeply. We are still climbing the ladder of knowledge in architecture, art, philosophy, and design. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.